Okay, so we're still focusing on Pilates and yoga and good movements to make us feel better, and will warm us up for our days. Today I have a request to work on foot, knee, lower body health. So we will focus a lot on that. So I'm just going to start right away. I have a washcloth here in front of me, and it's here for now, but we're not going to use it quite yet. And all I want everybody to do is just stand with their feet about hip width apart. So hip width apart, I put my hands here because your hip bones are actually here. Everybody thinks their hips are here, but they're actually here. And if you draw an invisible line all the way down your knees to your second toe, that's pretty much a good indication of your alignment. And right now, all we're going to do is rock from our toes to our heels. So I'm just lifting and lowering. And I've been doing a little research on this because it's real easy to get knee pain. And this is one of the exercises that was suggested to avoid it. So right now we're just finding a balance, rocking forward and back. I'm already beginning to feel my calves fire up. And then just find your center and just lift one front of your foot at a time. So I don't want to say one toe at a time, but the balls of your foot. Just rocking up and down like this. And then just heel raises. Let's just do 6. So we just have 3 more. Notice when you lift up, do you have a tendency to go towards the pinky toes? So do you have a tendency to cave out like that, or do you cave in? And if you can find that balance, we did more than 6, but that's okay. And then we're just gonna lift our toes again. So now I ask you to get a washcloth, and you're gonna put your foot on the washcloth, and I want you to slowly try to bring the washcloth in towards you. Now, I have a disadvantage. I have an advantage. I have finger toes. My toes are nice and long, so this is really easy. But you should feel the bottom of your foot working. And if you really want to play, you can pick it up and try the other foot. Very good. I'm not the only one with finger toes. So, and maybe pick it up. And just doing that, I could feel the bottom of my foot. I'm alternating picking up the washcloth with my feet, noticing that I have not really been doing a lot of good foot health. And then we could relax. And you could get rid of your washcloth. And we're just gonna keep our feet hip width apart. And I want you to imagine that there's a wall behind you, and you're just sliding your back down that wall, and see how far you can go without lifting your heels, without knee pain, maintaining alignment of the spine. So a lot of people, when they do this, they lean forward. Can we be aligned, and then come down? Come up and down here. And notice what happens when you do that. So you're not going to go any further than what's right for you. And if you're in the right positioning, a lot of times you can do more than you expected you could do. And the next one, and I'm having issues in my knee, but I can carefully come all the way down as long as I'm aligned and come up. So you only do what you know is okay for you, but if it hurts, you stop. So as long as I'm aligned, that works. And you should feel those legs starting to kick in. And then we'll come back up one more time. And we're just gonna stand tall. If you need to, you can grab something for balance. And just start with your left foot. You're balancing on the right leg. And just lift that leg. If you feel your hip flexor kicking in, just stay down. I just want you to kick forward and back, nice and slow. If it's too much pressure to do this standing, you could do it sitting. We're working on supporting the muscles around our knees. So I really want you to move slowly. Imagine yourself going through a thick substance. And I don't care if you point or flex, you could play with both. What you should feel are your quadricep muscles. And then keep that leg tall, tap the floor and come up. The key is to keep the hips even. So we're not kicking our foot over our heads. I'm stopping about knee level. I'm beginning to really feel my quadricep kicking in. Now I'm going to turn my foot out and do that a few times here and turn it in. Whew. Hope I'm not the only one feeling this. And then you can just bring that foot down, balancing on your left foot, extend out your right foot. And same thing, just kick nice and slow and even. And I'm playing around with pointing and flexing. Shoulders down and back. And notice how the supporting leg is doing. So I really want you to feel a resistance here. I know it's real easy. I could kick out like this very easily, but if I control it, I feel the muscles engaging. And then keep the legs straight and tap it up and down. This is another one, watch the hips. We've been watching this Netflix documentary called The Blue Zones, how all these people living to 100 and the different things about those areas. And obviously the number one thing, and you could relax. And we're gonna come all the way down to the floor, is movement. So a lot of these people, all these centenarians, are down here on the floor like this. And they are just hanging out here. But you have to be careful because, I mean, even me, you see I'm leaning to one side a little because I don't want it to get into that knee. And then you come all the way down. And I like to call this Thank God Asana. So from here, we're going to sit nice and tall, soles of the feet together, knees apart. And it's same thing, your feet are wherever it feels the best for you as you bring your knees down and up. So imagine a line from the crown of your head all the way through your tailbone. Hopefully feeling a nice stretch in your inner thighs. Something else before you get too comfortable, before you lay down, if you happen to have a strap of any kind, I don't have one handy, but I'm going to just grab this ribbon I have. It's thick enough that it'll do the trick, long enough that it'll assist. If you don't have that, you can use a circle, whatever you have that'll help you with the stretching. Okay, so from here, feet are apart. We're just going to let our legs drop side to side. And you only go as far as it feels okay to you. And same thing, find the positioning. If you're anything like me, you're feeling your hips starting to wake up. And then come back center, sit nice and tall. And if you are gripping in your hip flexors, use your hands to help you. And you can start by grabbing your hamstrings and with a long back, lean forward. And notice where you feel it the most. Cute kitty. Carefully come forward a little more. If you start to feel this in the back of your knees, soften the knees a little, give you more length in the back of your legs. And then come back up, sitting nice and tall. If you need to bend your knees, this will be a little safer. Holding onto your hamstrings, slowly roll down, dragging your heels on the floor to get yourself all the way down to the mat. And bring your feet down to the mat. Hands nice and flat on the mat next to your hips. We're just going to rock that pelvis back and forth. So we started a little differently today. If we were teaching a traditional Pilates class, we would be starting right here like this. But I wanted to address the requests from the video, and sometimes just starting standing is a nice alternative way to get us going. We're already up, and you could compare how you felt when we start to how you feel when we finish. And then keeping your legs here, bring your legs together and just rock side to side. And you could feel one hip at a time, dropping towards the earth. We're not going far. I'm going about 2 inches right and left. I could feel my pelvis just rocking back and forth like a bowl. And then walk your feet out a little more and rock the pelvis so your belly button is reaching towards the floor, and then let your tailbone reach. As you do this, you can feel the rest of your body moving along with the pelvis. And then find the best neutral spine for you. So I want you to feel the back of your head, your rib cage, and your pelvis on the mat. And just lift your right leg up into tabletop. And from here, extend it straight and bend. Straighten and bend. So we're going back to what we were doing standing, only your left leg is bent right now. Keep that leg straight and just bend it about halfway between 90 degrees and 180. And you're going to tap that foot up and down. If this is too much for you, just bend your knee more. 90 degrees is the easiest. The more you extend it, the more challenging it is to find that pelvic balance. If you keep your legs straight, it's the most challenging version. Just a couple more here, and then let your leg find its supporting knee. So your right leg should be right next to your left knee, and just cross it so the back of your right knee is on top of the left knee. And we're going to draw a tiny little circle around. So we're not going big, we're just finding stability in the hip as we draw these circles and reverse the circles. You should feel a little stretch in the hamstrings as we move and get mobility in that hip joint. Take your right ankle, cross it over your left thigh, and just aim your knee towards and away from you. So we're just sort of windshield wipering it forward and back. And then find the position that works best for you, where you feel a stretch but there's no strain, and we'll rock side to side. And notice where you feel it when you do this. You might feel it deep in your hips, in your back. Find the control. And then come back center and unwind that foot. And bring your left leg up into tabletop and decide where you want to find your femur arc from here. So you can start with 90 degrees and slowly lengthen that leg, whatever the best for you. So I need to look at the lesson about, you can almost hear my hip clicks here. There is something about that, and I will see if I can find that lecture, because we don't really want a hip click. And then we're going to bring that leg up so it's just next to the right knee. Cross it so your back of your left knee's on top, and we'll start with those little circles. I say the most challenging point is keeping those hips even on the mat. And reverse it. Good. And then bring your left ankle over your right thigh and start that windshield wipering forward and back. Just see how that feels. You only go as far as it feels okay to you. And then wherever your edge is, you're going to slowly rock side to side. And you only go as far as it feels okay to you. I kind of like to go here and stay for a moment, get a nice stretch in the hip area. And then find your center, unwind, and bring your arms to the sky and bring your arms behind you and by your hips. So just big arm arcs, working through the shoulder joint. If you'd like, you could do one at a time. You can keep doing them together. Notice if one feels a little differently than the other. You don't have to go this fast. You could go into the pace that's right for you. And then fingertips to the sky. Really press like you're trying to touch the ceiling with your fingers, and then hug your shoulder blades down. So just a lift and a lower. And just a couple more here. Plug those shoulders in, palms towards each other, and open your arms to the side and bring them together. So we'll do a few here. Notice how this feels. And then bring your hands behind your head. Lace your fingers together so your fingers are laced like this. We used to do this, but now it's better to do this, because what you're doing is you're lifting your elbows. You're really focusing on pressing the bottom ribs into the floor to lift your head up, and then you just let your head rest into your hands. So we're not pulling with our hands, but you have somewhere where you can let your head rest and then come back down. As you exhale, press those ribs down, let your head rest into your hands and come back down. Exhale, lift, head rest, bring your hands behind your hamstrings, lift a little higher, keep your shoulders where they are, let your head come back to your hands, make sure your head is resting, come back down. Exhale, lift, come a little higher, hands behind those hamstrings, lift even higher, hands behind the head, and come back down. Two more, lift, higher, right behind those hamstrings, even higher, hands back behind the head, and down. And one more time, press those ribs down, hands behind the hamstrings, lift a little higher, hands behind the head, and rest. And then we're going to bring both legs up, hands back behind those hamstrings, and you're going to poke your toes forward to slowly come up to sitting. And we'll keep working on that. So you're going to slowly roll back, find where you get stuck as you come down, and poke those toes forward to come up. And notice where the sticking point for you is. Okay, so next time you come up, I want you to grab your strap or your ribbon or whatever you have, and I think this is the best place for you to see how I'm using this with my foot. So I'm going to take the band of the strap on the ball of my foot, and I'm just going to pull the strap towards me so my toes are reaching towards me, and I'm doing my best to allow my toes to rest. So I'm really just letting my foot rest in this position. So if you've ever had plantar fasciitis, they make a boot that keeps you in this position that you sleep in because it helps you release your calf muscles. And then point the toe away, press into that strap, and then bring those toes towards you. So we're just going to point and flex. So we're also getting into the ankle joint. And then we're getting into my favorite thing. So from here, you're going to grab the hand that's by your big toe and pull it towards you. And then you're going to switch pinky toe towards you. So you're kind of going side to side. We don't do this a whole lot, but it feels really therapeutic, and it's really good to get more mobility in that ankle joint. It's mobility and stability. So go ahead, point again. Flex, pull the big toe towards you, pull the baby toe towards you, and relax. Now, since we're already here and standing, you could continue to use the strap, whatever works for you. Reach your opposite arm up, so whatever knee is bent, that arm is up. We're going to lift up and over towards the straight leg. So you only go as far as it feels good to you. I'm hoping you feel a nice stretch in the side of the body that is bending, and then you come back up. Let's do two more of those. So we're lifting from the side closest to the extended leg, and we're stretching on the side by the knee. And let's do one more. Lift and lengthen. and come back center. And let's switch feet. So now we're gonna extend out our other leg and place the strap or the string right there. And just pull your toes towards you with the strap. So your foot is being held by the string. So why I'm being really specific about this is the tendency is to do it without letting the string support you. But if you let the strap support you, you can release the shin. If you need more support, you could put something under that knee and then point your foot away. So right now you're just going to pull towards you and pull away. Find neutral and pull your big toe side in, and then pull your pinky toe side in. So we're just pulling side to side. Just 2 more. And you can hold on to the strap or you can bring your hand down. It really doesn't matter, whatever works for you. So the side of your body by the long leg is lifting, and the other side is also lifting, and that's the side getting the stretch. So think of getting a little work in your obliques here as you stretch in the other side. And then come up, and let's do that 3 more times. Lift and reach over and come up. I hope this feels really good. And 1 more time. And come up. And let's come to our hands and knees. I'm all over the place today, but I want to get all sorts of different planes of movement. So we're on our hands and knees. And your hands are nice and wide. And only as far as it feels okay to you. See if you can bring your fingers towards you and away from you and alternate. Now, some of us won't be able to do this, and that's totally fine, but I'm hoping you feel the therapeutic benefits of this. It gets into those thumb and wrist joints. I don't want you to put a whole lot of weight in there. I just want you to feel the stretch. If you're able to, without any pain, just go ahead and have your fingers pointing towards you and just sit back towards your heels a little and come back. If you're like me, you're feeling those thumb joints big time. And just 1 more, woo, and come back and just shake it up. So whatever you need to do, this is always a good move to do right here where you squeeze and release those hands. When we're done, you should be super happy that you finished it. So let's all go to our forearms. Grab your opposite elbow with your opposite hand. Release those hands in front of you and let your head relax. I want you to focus on your shoulder joints again and just let yourself sink into the shoulders and then press away. So we're just slowly sinking. You should feel the back shoulder blades. You should feel the motion in that whole shoulder area. So hopefully you can feel the difference where you can support yourself here. And then we're just going to do a couple cat and cows in this position. You're more than welcome to do this whole thing like this. I'm just offering an option if this really bothers your wrists. So both versions work very well. Another option for wrists is fists for wrists. And then find neutral spine. So think of how you were when you were on your back. And just extend out one arm and bring it down. And extend out the other arm and bring it down. So I'm going to show all options, and so do that again. One arm and down, the other arm, down, or up and down and up and down. So whatever version of that works for you. And then this time you're going to bring your right foot back And make sure your hips are nice and even, and just press into that right heel. This will be good for those of you hiking after class. Come back center. Press into your heel and center. So you're getting a nice stretch in the back of your leg. Come center. And all I want you to do, keeping everything just like it is, the only change is you're going to start to point your right foot and then lift it up. And that way you should be nice and even. And same deal, if being on your hands doesn't work, you can do fists or you can come down to your forearms, whatever version works for you. Now from here, just tap that foot down and bring it back up to hip height, wherever it's best for you. Now stay up and cross that leg back and over, almost like you're drawing an arc, like a rainbow. And then bring that leg in and switch. So bring your left foot back, keep those hips even, and start by just pressing into the heel and releasing. And press and release. Hopefully you're feeling that nice stretch. And remember, whatever version is best for you. If you are on your hands, you might want to occasionally really press nice and wide and energize up as if you could levitate off the mat. It'll help get out of those wrist joints. Come center and just point that left foot and lift the leg up, keeping those hips even. And we're just going to tap up and down. Good. So you do the best for you. Then keep that leg up and start with the arcs. Up and over. Good. Just a few more here. Just 3 more. 3, 2, and 1, and widen your knees to the wide edges of the mat and sit your hips back for child's pose. If you need to, a nice thing for your knees would be to put something under them, like a rolled up towel. That should help take some pressure off. And then your arms could be extended or wherever it feels good to you. I see a lot of people do this sometimes. Whatever works the best for you. And then come back up. We're going to take our right arm and lace it underneath you, laying on the outside of that right shoulder. And I'm hoping you feel a really nice stretch in that right shoulder area. You can stay here the whole time. You could take your left arm and create a bind. That is optional. Today, for some weird reason, that's working for me. Normally, I would never do this, but you just wherever you are in the moment. For those who really want to challenge themselves, you need to focus. Take your left foot, lengthen that leg, and see if you can lift that left leg up to balance. And then you can bring it in, unwind, and come up to tabletop. Is everybody okay on their knees so far? We're almost done. Okay, so from here, take your left arm and lace it underneath you. And just stay here for a moment and decide maybe you want to do the same thing with the right arm. Create a bind. You know what's best for you. If it doesn't feel good, please don't do it. If you'd like, you can straighten out that right leg and lift that leg up. And then unwind and have a seat. Whew. So all stretches, but some work. So if it's okay for you to sit like I'm sitting, please go for it. If it's not, balance yourself up a little higher on a stool or a couple pillows. It's really good to kind of work into this because we want to get more internal rotation in the hip. So if you struggle here, I'd love to see you work towards it. And we're going to pick up, so you're going to pick up your arm that's closest to the outside leg. We're going to lift up and over, just like we did in that earlier stretch. And then from here, take that top arm like you're going to lace it underneath the supporting arm. Once you get to where it's best for you, take another deep breath. I hope you're feeling a nice stretch here. And then bring both hands so this leg is parallel to the mat as well as your hands. And as you exhale, bring that back hip down into like a sideways cat and lengthen up like in a cow pose. So you're just rolling through your spine, getting nice movement in those hips and backs. Should feel therapeutic. Just a couple more here. Let that back hip come down, come to your side, come up and take a counter stretch and see how it feels to do it the other way. So same thing, if this is not awesome for you, you can see this side's a little rougher on me. I'm gonna push through, as long as I don't feel any pain in my joints, I'm gonna just go ahead and work through it as I bring the other arm up and we're gonna lift. So if you see, I'm not leaning, I'm lifting, and we're gonna lace that arm through. Take a moment here.
Hi, Phyllis.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna put mute on. Shoot.
Yeah.
Not me. Sorry, guys. Okay. Did that work? Yes. So just stay there for a moment. It's okay. Bring both hands so that they're on either edge of the mat. And we're just gonna do our cat-cow in this position. Unfortunately, I have no editing skills, so if this worked out and I actually taped class, we're gonna have to work through it. Maybe they'll put a commercial during that part. So are you feeling that stretch in your back? So I'm not bending my elbows, I'm just moving from my back. So my arms are straight. In fact, I have hardly any weight on my hands. I'm working here. And that's where I feel it the most. And then come back to your side, lift up and take that counter stretch. Take a moment, see if it feels a little better, I would say that much. And then come back center. And let's just see how far we can come into a nice straddle stretch. So here's the thing, I know we all are so goal oriented and we want to just have the best version of this. You're only where it's best for you. If I really wanted to push myself, I'd go further out, but I know it's not going to help me, so I'm staying where I know it's the best. And I'm just going to really work towards making sure I'm in the best aligned position possible. And my hands are here to prevent my knees from rolling in. And then from here, we're going to lean forward and see where you feel it the most here. So something I learned the other day is sometimes you get knee pain because your inner thighs are too tight. So notice, is one inner thigh tighter than the other, and what's going on with the rest of the body on that side. And then come up and come back to your Baddha Konasana position as you bring those knees down and up. And then we're going to straighten out those legs. And one leg is bent, sitting nice and tall. Hug that leg with your opposite arm as you press your hand into the mat. So I have my right knee bent and I'm going to look over my right shoulder. Take a nice inhale, exhale, release. And then keeping my legs where they are, I'm going to unravel and bring my left arm behind me, right arm on the inside of that right leg, press to look over my left shoulder. Taking a nice inhale, exhale. See if I can get a little more space and unwind. Let's switch legs. So now the left knee is bent, sitting nice and tall. I'm holding on to my leg to help my posture. Hold on to that left leg with your right hand, left hand behind you. Sit tall and look over your left shoulder. As you inhale, feel everything expanding, and as you exhale, feel yourself wringing out a little more. And unwind and bring your arm on the inside of that leg as you look over your right shoulder. And unwind. So now we're going to do something for the knees. We've done a couple things, but hands here or wherever it's best for you. If you happen to be it's easy for you to find your back against a wall, do that. What I'd like for you to do is just press the back of your knees into the floor and release. So now some of us tend to be hypermobile. So if you're that person that when you press your knees back, it almost looks like they're bowing back. So I'm going to demonstrate. So my heels just popped off the floor because I'm slightly hypermobile. You want to encourage yourself to keep those heels down so that you could really get into the depth of that stretch. We don't want to overstretch. This is supposed to be really good for knee health. Just a couple more here. And then come forward, and whatever version of the roll up is best for you. You can come straight down or you can grab your legs. Bring both knees in. Come to tabletop, hands behind your head. Lift your head and shoulders. Let your head rest. Inhale here. Exhale as you extend your left leg. Aim your left armpit to your right knee and come back center as you inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Take your time in your own pace with your own breath flow. What you want to look for is that you're keeping your pelvis even and you're really keeping your elbows in that hammock position. So what I see when I teach this is this. I see this. That's not the exercise. It's a lot more effective and challenging to work through it slowly. It goes deeper. You should be feeling it. If you feel that opposite hip lifting up, what can you do to change that? Can you get the shoulder higher off the floor? Can you talk and do this at the same time? It's very challenging. So we'll do a couple more here. I hope you're feeling it. And rest and grab your shins with your hands and do femur circles. So we're just going to simultaneously open those knees to the side and reverse it. Should feel yummy. And this next thing is up to you. I just happen to have a yoga block nearby, so I'm going to use it. But you don't have to. It's just an option. We're going to start with some bridging. So start easy and just lift your hips off the mat. Your gaze is pretty much to where the wall meets the ceiling, and watch that your hips are in line with your shoulders and your ribs are not flaring. And notice if your knees want to go out to the sides, can you draw them closer towards each other? And then slowly roll down. I'd like to work on a few of these in your own time. I'm going to bring my heels a little closer in because it's a really great stretch in the front of the legs. It's another really good one to do if you're struggling with knee pain. And come back down. Ooh, anybody else feel that when you brought your heels in closer? Come up a little more. And down, and you could play around with the distance. And I'm going to bring my feet a little further away and see how that feels. So this I don't feel as much. So now find sort of right in between.
And this time I want you to peel your hips off the mat and see, you could either take the block and it could be low like this, or you can bring it up a notch, or if you have the mobility here, you can bring it all the way up. And I really love this version of it because it really opens up your hip flexors. And if you notice, I am not flaring my ribs. I am in one long line and I'm really getting some nice hip extension. And if you're feeling what I'm feeling, there's no pain. It's like a total release in the hip and back. And if that doesn't work for you, you can always use a ball or a foam roller or whatever you can use to help you get more hip extension in this position. Let's take a couple breaths here. Even if you bring it up a little bit, it really makes a huge difference. And then from here, you can pick your hips up, release the block or the ball or the roller and come all the way down. I hope that felt really good. So let's hold on to your right leg wherever it feels best to you. Extend your left leg straight and gently bring your right knee towards your right armpit. Can you allow your right knee to rest into your hands as opposed to working too hard? Just let your leg relax and get a nice stretch and circle your right foot from the ankle joint and reverse it. So depending on your flexibility, and there's no competition here, if you can easily grab your big toe with your index finger and middle finger and straighten your leg without overstraining yourself, go for it. But if you happen to have an aid, like a strap, and it helps you do this better, this is a better way to go. I'd rather see you work towards it as opposed to overwork. And whatever you're using to help you, press your leg into the strap and release. And again, press into the strap and release. One more time, press, release. I like to hold on to both edges of the strap with my left hand, and my right hand's on the outside of my right leg to support it, keeping that left hip on the floor to open up that right leg on a diagonal to the right side. So my hope is you are feeling your inner thigh and hamstring. Take a deep breath here and use your hands and your abdominal muscles to bring your legs straight. So you should be in pretty much a 90-degree position. Now I'd like for you to cross your right leg about 2 inches to the left. So you're crossed right over the midline of your body. You should feel your IT band. That is another culprit of knee pain. Lots of research here. So I'm not passing out prizes if your leg is up here. I'd rather see you in alignment. And then everybody bend that knee. You can take your strap aside and cross that right leg all the way over to the left side, keeping both shoulders on the floor as much as possible. So your left leg is straight, your right leg is bent, pointing to the left side. Both shoulders are on the floor. So straighten out that left leg. I see some bent left legs. Then you're going to take that right arm and you're going to go all the way over. So you're laying on your left side and both hands are on top of each other. Reach that left arm forward to the ceiling and then roll back, getting a nice stretch again. Now bend both legs so your legs are on top of each other. Grab the back of your head with your hands, shoulder blades are down, lift up that right elbow and start to roll back. Again, getting a nice stretch throughout your entire body. Hopefully really feeling a big stretch in your chest. And since we're here, roll back one more time. I'm letting my head rest on my hands. I'm gonna pick up the top leg with my top arm. Make sure your shoulder blade is lined up so you're not yanking it forward. And just gently bring that top leg back as far as you can tolerate. Maybe kick your foot a little into your hand for a nice deep quadricep stretch. And then release, and however you want to roll back to your back. So we already did the prep for the figure 4 or reclining pigeon pose. So let's go back to crossing your right ankle over your left thigh. And this time you can stay here, or you can pick that left leg off the floor and just find a stretch in that right hip. If that's not deep enough for you, hands around the shin. If that's not deep enough for you, tilt your legs an inch to the left. Take a deep breath and see if you can allow those hips to release. This is another really good one if you are walking. Good to warm up for a nice big long hike or walk. And come back center. Unwind that right leg all the way down to the floor and hold on to your left shin with both hands and allow that leg to rest in your arms. Circle your left foot from the ankle joint and reverse it. You can take the strap and put it at the bottom of your foot as you straighten out that leg. And you just find where the best position for you is, and you're just going to press that leg into the strap and release it. And do it again and release. One more time, release, and hold on to both edges of the strap with your right hand as you open that leg to the left side. Keep that right hip on the floor. Good, nice deep breaths. Feel your body opening up. Use your exhale to help you bring that leg back center and just cross that leg about 2 inches to the right so you can feel the IT band getting a stretch. And then bend the knee, keeping both shoulders on the floor. Cross that leg all the way over and take a moment, and if it feels okay to be here, turn your head to look over your left shoulder. You're getting a full body stretch. You're getting into the neck, you're getting into the chest, the back, the hips. And then roll so you're laying completely onto your right side. And reach that top arm forward into the ceiling. And roll all the way back. Take a breath or two here. Come back center. This time bring both legs on top of each other. Hands behind your head, shoulder blades down. Lift up your top elbow. And roll back again, aiming the shoulder blade towards the floor. And it's okay if your shoulders don't make it to the floor, eventually they will. We're just really getting some good movement, releasing some restrictions. Unwind yourself back, and you can use your bottom arm as a pillow and pick up that top leg and just bring that leg back as far as you can tolerate, and then kick that foot into your hand for a deeper stretch. And then unwind however it feels natural and easy for you. Pick up your left ankle, cross it over your right thigh. This might be it, but if you want to go a little deeper, hands around that right hamstring. If that's not deep enough for you, Hands around the right shin. Whatever you've chosen to be your deepest part, take a deep breath here, and as you exhale, tilt your legs an inch to the right and really use your breath to help you allow those hips to open up a little more. Come back center and let's all take happy baby. Knees towards the armpits, tailbone towards the floor, and maybe rock a little side to side. So if you cannot get to your feet with your hands, you can grab your hamstrings with your hands. And as you get deeper into the stretch, you can climb higher and higher. Eventually, you get that flexibility back. And it's a really nice stretch for your hips and your back. Grab the back of your legs with your hands to roll up again. And we're just going to sit nice and tall into a comfortable sitting position, whatever version feels best to you. Roll your shoulders down and back and clench your fists and release. And clench and release. If you need to, you can sit up on something if you're leaning back. And very gently grab your fingers. If you can, your arm is straight and pull your hand towards you a little. Feel the stretch in your hand and your wrist. And switch. Ooh, one side is definitely tighter than the other. And again, one more time. And squeeze and release and shake it out. Roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Start by reaching your left ear towards the sky, or your right ear, it's my left ear. And if you can see yourself, make sure your shoulders are in one line. The tendency is to lift one shoulder. And then look down at your opposite armpit. Roll your chin forward. Lift your head up. Adjust the shoulders again, and now you reach your left ear to the sky. And just notice how that feels. Strangely enough, sometimes you might be feeling strain in one side, but it's the other side that's tighter. And then look down towards your right armpit. Roll your chin center. Lift your head up. Bring your thumbs to your hearts and take a moment and just gazing down at your fingertips. I'm just going to ask you to think of one thing in your life that you are thankful for. It could be anything. And bring your thumbs to your third eye, connecting everything together. I wish you all love, peace, joy, and wonderful good health always. Namaste. And I'm going to turn off the recorder.